R. Shah is a professor and chair at the Department of Community Health and Family Medicine at the University of Florida College of Medicine. She majored in cultural anthropology and mathematics and graduated with honors from Northwestern University in 1991, followed by a medical doctorate in 1996 from the University of Illinois at Chicago. She finished her family medicine residency program at the University of New Mexico in 1999. She took a gap year and worked as an actuary. She completed an international health leadership course for the Masters of Health Professional Education from University of Illinois at Chicago, and an executive program in artificial intelligence with implications for business strategy in 2019 at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. She received a certificate in global health with honors from Global Health University Unite for Sight in 2018 and is doing work towards a certificate in global health technology. She did a Leaders Fellowship at America's Essential Hospitals from 2018 to 2019. As of 2024, she is board certified in healthcare administration, leadership, and management. She is an innovative leader, especially in the areas of telehealth, artificial intelligence, and business strategy. Her most recent passion is artificial intelligence and medicine. She is a well-known AI expert within her field and is frequently asked to be a keynote speaker at national conferences. So with that, Dr. Shah, you can go ahead and take it away and go ahead and bring up your slides. The floor is yours.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you so much for the invitation and for giving me this opportunity to speak. It seems like we have a relatively small group, which is great because that means I can really cater the talk to something that you are interested in. So definitely feel free to use the chat or interrupt me. This is a small enough group that I'm happy to pause and explain things to you. Now, before I begin, are there any requests? Is there anything that some of you feel like, hey, before the end of this hour, I want this covered? So yeah, feel free to put it in the chat. Any questions that you have, anything specific that you want me to discuss. What I usually do is I start off with the disclaimer. I have no financial relationships. However, I will tell you that AI is changing so rapidly that what I present today may be outdated, maybe as soon as tonight. And I no longer claim to be an expert. As Amanda mentioned, I have had training 6 years ago at MIT, and I'm currently enrolled at the University of Chicago in a chief AI officer training program, but lots of changes and lots of aspects to AI. But, I feel like I know enough to share with you what I know. So today, hopefully you'll learn some basic terminology in AI. And again, if I'm being too, basic, let me know if I can move fast or slow, depending on where your needs are. Definitely want you to know how AI is being used in medical administrative applications, in family medicine residencies, and especially in primary care. And then since there are some residency folks represented here, how do we prepare our clinicians and our learners for upcoming changes and challenges? And finally, I do want to speak to you about a statistic that I like to mention at the beginning of every talk that I give, which is an ITIS. I made this up. It's Artificial Intelligence Tools Augmentation Statistic. And it's there to encourage transparency and honesty. And basically is how much of this talk is me and how much is AI. So Nipa Shah today is 90%, AI augmentation tools is 10% of this talk. And I think this speaks to what we all should be doing. If we're using AI, whether it's an email, whether it's in a letter, whether it's in our patient care notes, or whether it is to give feedback to a student, or in our presentations, admit it. Admit that you're using AI tools and be transparent. And if you can add a little statistic as to what percentage is you and what percentage is AI, that will go far to encourage transparency and build that trust. Because we definitely don't want to hear speakers who we don't know if they're the real authentic speaker, or they're just reciting what AI has told them to recite, or they're even avatars, which is really easy to do now, of AI. So be transparent, be honest, and remember my ITIS statistic. So where are we right now? Okay, you guys are doing primary care in a variety of settings. AI in ambulatory doctor-patient encounters is here. It says in the slide in the future, but this is where we're at. So in the pre-visit preparation, what do we have? Automatic intake and triage. So a patient will call to make an appointment, and there will be a chatbot that works with the patient to say, hey, you patient, you're going to go to this, you know, a clinic and see this specialist in this time. Maybe you need to go to urgent care or ER or outpatient. So triage, risk stratification, if there is a shortage of appointments, which patient can be seen and should be seen earlier. And then during the encounter, we're having access to real-time clinical decision support, not only for primary care, but also for mental health. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And I think a lot of you, are you guys using ambient clinical documentation? Do you have scribes that are transcribing your notes? Yes, I see a thumbs up. Yeah, so you're already using AI. Thank you, Dr. Shanks. And, you're aware of the potential of what generative AI can do. So I'll have some information about that as well in a few slides from now. And then patient engagement. What do we want? We want healthy people in the world, healthy patients. And the way that people become healthy is if we can personalize our treatment plan to the way they learn, to the way they want to change, if they want to change, and then have it be present with them continually, not just episodically during a patient care 15-minute visit, but ongoing. So personalized education and shared decision making, AI can certainly help with that because it helps you to summarize what the patient is all about ahead of time so that you can use that time during the in-person visit more effectively by perhaps participating in shared decision making. And then after the patient leaves the clinic, what can AI do? Certainly you are aware of remote monitoring and then AI summarizing those data points and then sharing with you what is most relevant. So if you have somebody on who has been released from the hospital after being diagnosed with CHF and they're being monitored for daily weights, wouldn't it be nice for you to just get a graph of their weight and not just the graph of their weight, but an alert if the weight increases suddenly based on your parameters. So remote monitoring, that's just one example. And then virtual health coaches. If you're not familiar, some of these apps that are direct to consumers for specific diseases or conditions, for example, Noom, you can literally have a virtual health coach who will guide you every step of the way through that health process. And that is available usually through an app at a small cost. So that's where we are with AI. And then, we have the other thing is, using AI to offer clinical decision support. So what are the tools that doctors and nurse practitioners and PAs can use during the patient visit to support what it is that they're learning? So going back, in case some of you are wondering, what is she talking about? I want to make sure you know that AI at the very basic level is computers thinking and performing tasks that a human brain does, okay? So that's artificial intelligence. It's artificial. It's intelligence by computers. What does that involve? It involves visual perception. So AI can have computers actually see a screen and determine what it is. If you've ever used Google with the little camera icon, you can just take a picture of any tree, any flower, and just take a picture, and the computer has visual perception, and it can tell you the name of that type of tree and more information about it. Speech recognition. Many of you might have Alexa or Siri at home or on your phone, and you talk to it. Hey, what's the weather? Hey, Alexa, add peanuts to the shopping list. So voice recognition is a part of AI. And then decision making. So helping gather data and then helping make conclusions from that data is something that AI can do as well. And then this one I find very helpful is translation between languages. We use AI to help cater patient care handouts specific not only to the patient's level of understanding of the English language, like let's say 8th grade reading level, but also the language of their choice. And we always put both the patient handout in their language of choice and in English. And then we have a disclaimer that says content above generated by AI. And that disclaimer is very important because sometimes it's not accurate. But to have it in English and their language means that your name is on it, you've reviewed it in English and made sure that the content is accurate. Because remember, it's generative AI, and I'll talk to you a little bit about what that is. So remember when we also talk about artificial intelligence, it's only about certain types of intelligence. So there's multiple types of intelligence that our human brain is capable of in our body as well. Mostly when we talk about artificial intelligence in 2025, it's the logical, mathematical, the linguistic, and definitely the musical. We are very far from having an intrapersonal or interpersonal AI at this point. We're getting into the spatial or the bodily kinesthetic with 3D and cameras, looking at videos and making sense of those, but that's at the very beginning stages at this point. So lots of different types of intelligence. And then let's go through some basic terminology in case you haven't been made aware. You've heard of ChatGPT 3 years ago, launched just 3 years. That's all it's been. And it basically took, everything that was in the internet up to a certain point in time and then allowed you to access it in a unique way. And you might say, well, Google is there for that. Well, yes, but all these search engines, Google, Bing, Chrome, etc., they have limitations. When you search on those in the search box, you get a link to lots of websites with more information. With large language models like ChatGPT, Meta's Llama, Claude by Anthropic, Grok by X, all these other ones, Gemini by Google, what you're doing is having that information summarized for you in an easily readable and available format. So that's what chatbots can do through large language models. Some of these other terms we'll go through them as well, but I just wanted you to make sure that when you talk about AI, it's like learning a new language. Like when you went to medical school or nurse practitioner school, you learned language, a whole medical terminology that the lay people did not understand. AI is no different. There's lots of different languages that are important and lots of terminology. So generative AI basically is generating new information. Explainable AI is something new that you must learn about. It's XAI, where you see a conclusion, you see a report made by AI, and it's explainable. It can tell you where it's coming from. But between the time you ask a question and the answer is given to you by an artificial intelligence large language model, there is an intermediary, and that's called a RAG, or retrieval augmented generation. And that adds an extra level of trust in the sense that it's a pause, it's a regathering of information instead of just spitting things out. And this one's a good one, HITL. This is a human in the loop. A lot of jobs, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, are being replaced by AI, but they're keeping humans around for certain parts of it, for double checking things, for looking at problems or giving input. So human in the loop is something that you'll hear about as well. We'll talk about agentic AI, computer using agent. Agent is going to be the key word for going forward, agentic AI, and I'll tell you about that as well. And then there's a new term called shadow AI. And that's when you might know people who are doing this, who are using AI on the sly, even though they're not supposed to at your institutions. They're logging into AI and then answering questions or uploading sensitive information into AI and then finding, answers and then using those answers as if they were their own. So it's called shadow AI. And then finally, the word is jailbreaking. And that's when algorithms are developed to break any barriers that the companies have developed so that, let's say somebody's trying to have AI develop a virus that will end all of humanity. Well, those kind of questions are blocked by at least most of the large language models. And jailbreaking is an attempt to bypass that block. There's algorithms and there's people with very dark intentions who just want AI to give them answers that are very hurtful, and they'll continually attack AI and ask questions in a way that AI may not suspect, and they're trying to jailbreak. So those are some of the terminology as well. So I have all these on my slides, and Amanda will be kind enough to maybe share those slides if you guys want. But these are just some definitions about AI that I reviewed. But I specifically want to focus on chatbots because we'll use them a lot in medicine. So chatbots is a conversation. You're having a conversation with a robot. It allows you to provide real-time responses, more contextual answers. So imagine you're a patient and you're just talking out your symptoms. I'm having a headache. And the chatbot is walking you through your headache and asking you specific questions, very similar to how a physician or a clinician would be asking questions. And so they will answer based on what, that algorithm and that chatbot has, from the data that it has as well. So there's voice chatbots, there's rule-based chatbots, and that's really helpful. So if you haven't done it yet, your institution will soon probably adapt it, where patients will ask through the portal certain questions. When is my next appointment? When will I get my lab results? What happened to my referral? And so these are rules-based chatbots so that it's not taking answers from anything that's available out there on the internet. It's just very specific rules. So if question A is answered, answer it in one of these 3 ways. So it's a little bit more reliable and useful in a medical setting as well. And then there's educational chatbots. So a student can log into this one developed by physicians and faculty at a university in Hong Kong, and they can ask anything. And what they did was they uploaded all the medical textbooks that are available. And any student can log in and literally ask any question, and it can give an answer. So in the old days, you really had to go find a textbook that had that information, look it up and read it and remember it, and then be able to regurgitate it when the test came around. So this is immediate, and it actually gathers all that information to you. And again, it's a limited amount of data as well. So what are currently healthcare chatbots used for? Certainly symptom checking and triage as far as next steps, appointment scheduling. If you have tried to book a reservation at a hotel or an airline recently, you might notice a little chatbot come up on the right side. It's a human. It's not a human. It's an algorithm-based computer, but it's mostly to help you with appointments and reminders, things like that. And that could definitely reduce our administrative burdens. Medication reminders. This is just one app that helps patients remember when to take their medications, tells them about side effects, etc. There's other tools. One of them is called Wobot, and that's to help patients who are having a depressive episode or an anxiety attack. It can text you back and forth. No human. It's available 24/7, and it can, help you understand what mental health issues you're going through texting. So lots of different tools out there that we can potentially use as well. And we talked about patient education handouts and how easy it is now to create them on various health topics to help patients better understand their conditions and treatments. Remember, all of this comes with a disclaimer. Misunderstandings and wrong answers to questions are still possible. It's generative AI. There's no human double checking anything. So we are definitely wanting to make sure that we are double checking it ourselves before we give that information. All right, so we talked about, a lot of these already, but the one thing I also want to say is integration across healthcare systems. So imagine your patient lives in Colorado and goes across the border to New Mexico for healthcare, and that person doesn't know anything about this patient. Well, wouldn't it be nice if we had integration across healthcare systems so there's seamless communication versus waiting for that fax to be sent or something electronic, which comes as PDF and it's 80 pages and you really don't even know what to make sense of it. Wouldn't it be nice if that was summarized in like maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs so you can really just get to that patient's needs immediately. And that's what integration across healthcare systems can do for us as well. And again, we're using these closed private chatbots, which limits data. So our university, I'm at the University of Florida, we have a company that we use where when we ask the AI questions with our business user agreement, it's not shared back with that company. So we have privacy in our question asking. And that's something that's important because it limits how much data you're going to send back to the company and allows for more privacy as well. We talked about generative AI, large language models, natural language processing, prompt engineering. So in Google, there's a search box. In large language models, it's called the prompt. And it's similar, it's a box, and you start typing whatever it is that, or speaking whatever it is that you're wanting to know about. And it's called prompt. And there's a whole new field emerging called prompt engineering. And that allows folks to ask questions in a way that they get the answers they're looking for. And it does matter how you ask a question. So I'll explain that to you guys in a little bit. We talked about human in the loop and RAG and AI agents. So let me talk to you a little bit about AI agents. So these are tools that can automate tasks on behalf of the user. So how can they help you? Think about it. You open up your patient chart, you have your electronic health record, and you want to look up their last labs. So you literally take the mouse and you take the cursor and you click on labs, and then it shows you the labs, right? And then you see the healthcare maintenance and you click on that and you see that they're due for a mammogram. So then you click on orders, you type out mammogram. All of these, all of this stuff, if you think about it, is very methodical. It doesn't necessarily require a human to do it, if you think about it. So an AI agent can be set to do that. So let's say, imagine a patient comes and wants a refill on their hypothyroid medication, and that's what they're there for. So once that's identified, a computer could theoretically take the cursor itself to the mouse, the cursor to the lab tab, click on it, open up TSH. The AI will know whether it's normal or not. If it's normal and it's been less than 6 months since the last test, then it can go to the medications and refill. So the AI agents can do the tasks of humans, which it's trained to do, which can be automated. And that can be very, very helpful because it can run through prescriptions. It can identify adverse effects based on a patient's drug profile or medication profile, and it can make adequate changes and order the appropriate drugs. It's still very early on, and of course very risky for us to do this, but just knowing that it's possible, and there's lots of very smart people working on this capability, and they're going to come around and sell it to us for a good price, I'm sure. The other way that agentic AI is helpful is in therapy. So a patient is there with their therapist and they're talking and the therapist is taking notes and observing. But it's very possible that if we use video at the same time, that the algorithm is trained to pick up on nonverbal cues, whether it's through voice or through facial features, that the agentic AI can then summarize what it thinks is going on with this patient, and then the therapist can use that summary to augment what they're doing. And this service is already available, and the company's trying to sell it to therapists to augment their clinical care. Again, to give more data as to what's really going on in the patient. So I'm going to take a break. Let me know if anyone has any questions, but it can be very confusing. I can understand that. Let's make it simple. Be curious. Be transparent and honest. Provide a disclaimer and learn and educate, especially our patients about AI, because it's no longer a dyad, folks. It's no longer a physician and a clinician. It is a physician. I'm sorry, it's no longer a patient and a clinician. It's a patient, a clinician, and AI. It's a triad. AI is being used in by 1 out of 3 patients already before they come see the clinician. So very important to educate our patients about do's and don'ts about it. And first, of course, you have to learn it yourself. And how do you learn it? Well, you go online and you start typing in the prompt box of a large language model. What you want to do is give AI a role. So this is not like a search in Google. This is a very specific way we ask questions. You want to give it a role, meaning who is AI, meaning who are you at the moment. Include context, give examples, try different iteration, and try different chatbots if you don't get the answer you want. And remember privacy. You never want to use personal health information in prompts unless you have a business user agreement with your institution. So prompt examples, all right? So explain diabetes in simple language for a newly diagnosed patient. Give me 3 examples. You have 200 words max for each explanation. You see how it's very specific. And that's the key thing, is that you want to be as specific as possible. Describe treatment options. 3 examples, each with within 150 words. Summarize the causes and risk factors. Concise examples, maximum of 100 words each. Put all of this in a 6th grade reading level, in Spanish, in Tagalog, in Hindi. Take your pick. Again, it's available. How to write effective generative AI prompts. This is an excellent article that was in the AFP that I just want to share with you. It's small print. I apologize about that, but this is available for you in your slides. And this was just published, I believe, earlier this year, with excellent ideas of how to use prompts so that you get the answers that you're looking for. So with all this potential, what is it that we should be focusing on, right? Because like, who has time for this? Aren't we busy as it is? Yeah, we're super busy, and we don't necessarily want to add even more to our, daily life. So let's focus on what is most broken in our healthcare system. I don't think anyone will argue that access is the biggest issue. There is a national shortage of clinicians, lack of insurance coverage, expense, expiring subsidies that's happening potentially at the end of this year. You can imagine the access issue and the crisis of access that is currently not just in this country, but worldwide. Physician burnout. I mean, we have become typists. We are documentarians, not physicians, it seems, right? Just managing so much information all the time and being told by our quality assurance, our compliance, our legal that we have to do this a certain way. It's led to a lot of burnout, no doubt about it. Our ability to take care of ourselves and our patients has definitely been compromised. And then don't forget misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation in our society, and certainly AI and the internet in general is not necessarily making it any better. So the way we start is, also looking for what is low risk and high value. In other fields, it's okay to kind of use AI in many different ways. But in medicine, if you use it the wrong way, it could lead to dire circumstances. So one quick way is, I think some of you said that you're using the ambient listening tools, the AI scribes. Hey, let me just talk to the patient and somebody else document everything. Great. Although remember, you're giving AI that information and you're sharing your data with them and you're training it so it can do it by itself pretty soon. The other really useful aspect in medicine is radiology exams. That is just visual interpretation, folks. It's just an image, and it just needs to be recognized what's normal, what's abnormal, and you feed it a million images. Most of them are normal, some are abnormal, and it learns what is normal, not abnormal, and it kind of spits out a diagnosis. So you'll see radiology exams being read by AI, if not already, pretty quickly. And then hopefully there's a HITL, there's a human in the loop, the radiologist who double checks things. And then answering patient questions in a simple chatbot, again, limited questions. You don't want to give them advice about their life or their serious conditions, but simple advice about healthy diet, exercise, et cetera, which is sort of similar for most patients as well. These are the current AI products. Yeah.
I see somebody has their hand raised.
Oh, great. Yes.
Did somebody have a question? So I can see you, but I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, great information. I'm coming from the graduate medical education world. I oversee a number of residency programs. It's a consortium model, and we obviously have different hospitals that we provide oversight to. And I'll tell you, I mean, every conference that I have attended, I just recently attended the DIO conference across the country in Missouri, in St. Louis recently. Everyone is talking about AI, but I think one of the challenging things is that many hospitals have firewalls that they don't allow their team or their medical staff or anyone to access any of this sort of thing.
Right.
Some hospitals are, I guess, what we would call adapters, and they've done very well, but they've certainly set up the learning space for AI. And I think every hospital needs to do that.
Right.
Because you are dealing with HIPAA violations. You're dealing with, if you have different people, different physicians who are just using AI any which way without any type of guidance or training, it becomes very difficult. AI is very complex.
Yes.
Folks don't know when they use it. They're leaving a footprint. The data is open to anybody stealing that data and using
Right.
that data. So I think there needs to be a significant amount of education. I think ASU or U of A or somebody is offering a 5-week course on how to use AI. And I think I think it's appropriate because I do think organizations, specifically in healthcare, because I think healthcare is kind of behind when you compare it to other industries who are using AI. That hospitals really need to set that infrastructure for folks to be able to use it and be able to provide guidance on what to use, what not to use, and understanding how the data is used when they actually go out on the internet and use, Perplexity or Chat GPT or Gemini or whatever else is out there.
Right.
But I wanted to know your thoughts on that. That's number one. And number two, I saw a very disturbing newscast the other day from parents who lost a child to suicide as a result of being guided by AI to commit suicide.
Right. Yes. So I was going to address that a little bit later, but let me go back to your first, concern. Very good one. And certainly our hospital was an early adapter. A few years ago, we got a $70 million grant from NVIDIA. So we've been really up to date on AI. We have the fastest AI computer for research in the country at the moment. So our institution is a little bit different, and I'm fortunate to have been a part of it. But our business user agreement, Dr. Wilson, it's allows us to use our product. Our product happens to be Copilot by Microsoft, and that data per our business user agreement is not shared back. So we have a BUA. If you have a BUA, then you can feel more confident about doing so. But besides, sharing, besides just looking up content, using a BUA, I'm going to go through a couple more slides and I'll get to the ones that are pretty much universally accepted as safe to use. So just give me a minute and I'll get back to you. And then the other issue you brought up is a very important one. We have now gotten to a stage in our society where AI is very, very personalized. You can spend your whole life, literally every day, wake up, good morning, Alexa, good morning, Grok. I have a friend who is in her 70s. She's a widow. And she said, I talk to Grok all day long and I wish him good night. And I know he's all computers and wires, but I've never met a better, he meets all my needs. He's better than 99% of the humans I've known in my life. And then she comes back and says, I know he's not human. And she lives alone. She's a widow. And this is her personal companion. And what happened with that situation with that teenager who became, who did end up, killing himself, was that he had a personal relationship with a chatbot. That chatbot, through hours and hours and days of talking to this individual, really got to know this individual. And the answers that they were giving to the question, the AI was giving to the individual, my guess is that they were very specific to what the individual was, asking for. And AI currently, in general, when you play with it long enough, you will see that it's trying to please you. The questions you ask and the answers it gives are in a pleasing tone. It doesn't want to upset you. It gives you answers you want. And the more it knows you, the more it knows what kind of answers you want. It doesn't have conscious. It doesn't know that giving a patient a step-by-step plan to commit suicide is wrong. It has to be trained to do that. And, as hard as algorithms and these large language model companies try to put these walls in place, there's jailbreaking, which I talked about really earlier. There's ways to kind of bypass it because they haven't thought of every which way that a question can be asked. So it is a danger, especially to people with vulnerable mental health, people who tend to believe in delusions, who get caught up in conspiracy theories, because again, it's designed to please you. It's designed to give you the answer you want and validate whatever you're thinking, which isn't very much unlike social media, which has an algorithm based on your feeds. You know, you click on Greece because you saw an island that you liked, and all of a sudden all you get is Greece, go to Greece, go stay here. I mean, we've come to this point where the algorithms are really designed to please you. But them not understanding the limitations is definitely a risk. And I'll be talking about that in a little bit. Thank you. Excellent points. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your response. I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. Keep asking more questions. I love it. I do. All right. So very quickly, I'm going to jump through some of this. Most of these are, they are available for you on your slides. These are Scribe products and their cost. This was as of April 2025. This is in the AFP journal, so please use that. Please use AI for administrative tasks, your prior auth requests, your insurance appeals, maybe even your grant applications. There's really no need for you to do this work yourself. It can be very effective for that. And then, we talked about schedules and appointments, things like that. And care gap outreach, imagine if AI can figure out from all the patients in your database, in your electronic health record, who's eligible for a mammogram, who's needing that tetanus shot and who hasn't gotten it. And then having that outreach system available, because it can be very useful for that purpose as well. So these are the useful AI tools for physicians, which are pretty much universally used at this point. So I don't see any problem with most of your institutions allowing you to use open evidence. Most of you probably use things like UpToDate. Open evidence is limited chatbot. So it only has data from like things published in PubMed, New England Journal of Medicine. I believe the Mayo Clinic is a partner, and also JAMA. And that's it. So it limits the scientific knowledge that it kind of summarizes and shares with you based on just these resources. So it has a lot higher level of trust than just doing a Google search and using Gemini or Anthropic, or Claude or Copilot, one of those. GLASS is clinical decision support that really focuses on differential diagnoses and treatment plans. Vera Health is another one. And the unique thing about this was developed by two folks at MIT. It rates the evidence. It just doesn't just give you the evidence. It rates how good the evidence is to support the conclusion that it's doing. So again, next time you're with a patient and you have a question, try these three formats without uploading personal health information and see the kind of answers you get. You'll be very surprised and shocked if you haven't already. Many physicians are using Doximity GPT as well. The company claims it is HIPAA compliant. However, please, before you upload PHI onto it, double check with your compliance department at your institution. Make sure they also have a business user agreement. But this platform has been around for a long time, and it's got more and more capacity, not only to give you answers to questions, but also summarize your notes and actually even write your notes for you. So it's very powerful and it'll save you time at the very least. I wanted to go through 3 studies, but in general, these 3 studies are from 2023, 24, and 25. And it basically shows that AI is getting very accurate. With time, we are looking at its ability to make recommendations about treatment plans are getting very accurate. And in fact, the latest one in 2025 showed that AI recommendations were often better quality than physicians. The thing that differentiates physicians, and this is why family medicine, I think, will be okay, is because physicians were better at adapting recommendations to changing information. What that means is, we have patients come in and they have this whole thing going on with them, right? And then all of a sudden, they'll add something else to it, a new dimension to it. Well, we in family medicine are comprehensivists. We can put all that together and then readjust our treatment plan based on this new information. AI can't do that as easily yet. It's really good to give you a treatment plan based on the information it's been given, but should any part of it change, it's still clunky and maybe inaccurate. And that's what this study showed. And but it's still, again, what's concerning is that the recommendations, when they were different, AI recommendations were rated as better quality as well. So this is a sample of a prompt. It's a very busy slide, but you can cut and paste this into a large language model, upload any journal article you want, and it'll give you a summary of the article which will be relevant. The author of this prompt has allowed everyone to share this prompt. It was published in the Annals of Family Medicine. And so, for example, here's complicated article, right? It's been a long time since I did cell biology, but I was curious about this. I do read Nature journal sometimes, and I thought, hey, this is complicated for me. I'm not a scientist. I'm a physician. Let me just have ChatGPT summarize this for me. And I did. So I took the previous prompt, I uploaded this article, and from Copilot, actually, it wasn't ChatGPT, it was Copilot. This is the summary it gave me, which was much more understandable. And, I felt like I got the gist of it a lot better with that way. And you can do that with any of these studies. And then, was it relevant to family medicine? At a score of 40 from 1 to 100. And then overall quality of the research in the article was 92. So it was a nice way to summarize it for me. The other thing you can do is use Google's product called Notebook. And that has lots of features, but one of the fun ones that if you want to have fun is upload any, article, chapter, even a short book that you have a copy of, and ask it to develop a podcast. And on your way home in the car, just kind of listen to your podcast. And it's a male voice and a female voice just chatting it up about that article. And they put in humor, and it's all done by generative AI voice. So a very great way to learn and fun. So if you haven't tried it, please do. But as I get excited about this, please remember the disclaimers. And you can tell by this AI image, again, 10% of my talk was AI. This is an image that was generated by AI. You can see the eyes and the nose of the people are a little funny. So there's ways to tell that these images are AI generated, but still, there are disclaimers by big companies, and you should definitely use a disclaimer if you're using AI every single time. We use social determinants of health a lot in our lives, and this study basically said that AI was 94% better than humans at picking up social determinants of health from the electronic health record compared to humans. So we should be using AI to get data that helps us with patients that way. And a lot of you are educators. Certainly you're used to having students use AI to help with their presentations or their writings, and you're probably using AI to give feedback to learners in a very effective way. And of course, our students, residents, and maybe perhaps you, when you're looking for jobs, you're putting your resume together and you're uploading the job description, you're uploading the resume, and you're asking AI to develop a better resume based on this particular job search. And if you're not doing that, please do, because most resumes by big companies now are first going through an AI algorithm, checking process. And if it's not matching their specific guidelines, your resume is not even being looked at. So that's just something that you're aware of. And of course, if you want to learn AI, AI will teach you. You really don't need me. You can have personalized feedback. There's tutors, there's algorithms that are very specific, and AI will probably be used by students at all levels. Just a couple of other things. FDA has approved over 1,250 AI-enabled devices, and there's a list on the FDA's website above it. The majority of them are radiology, cardiology, neurology. A lot of data and vision interpretation is what AI is being used for, and that's been approved already. But remember, a lot of these enabled medical products are not validated yet in the real patient setting. So if you want to use those tools, there is some risk involved. So again, have that HITL, human in the loop, as well. Remember the bias, the hallucinations, and the privacy issues that can be part of AI. And remember that the data that AI uses is data up till this point, which is not inclusive of people from all different backgrounds. The good news is that there are initiatives such as the All of Us study, which enrolls patients and collects data on people from different backgrounds. Specifically, this study is committed to having half the genomic information in the data set is from participants of non-European genetic ancestry. So with more data from people of different backgrounds, we really hope to personalize healthcare in a way that we've never been able to before. Legal concerns. If you use AI and you're wrong, you might be in trouble. But think of the converse. If you don't use AI and you're wrong, could you be in trouble? Because it's available. Well, why didn't you use it? So lots of ethical, philosophical questions here. We have to be careful not to become over-reliant on technology because we have to be present at the moment of patient need, and there could be a power outage, there could be a cyber attack, or there could be a time issue where you don't have time to look it up. You actually have to act. So a lot of our training is probably going to have to stay similar. The expectations of learning goals are going to have to stay the same, but certainly many parts of it can be augmented and maybe even optimized because now you're more efficient with your learning. Liability, like I mentioned, disengagement. We don't want to give all our management decisions over to AI. Then what's our role? And how do we handle Dr. AI? Because that's taking over from Dr. Google. And then insurance companies, it's a whole another issue, but sometimes they deny our prior auths because they're using AI to go through our prior auths as well, which, by the way, was banned in Arizona by their legislature as well. And then remember, our AI systems are trained on data, but if it's garbage in, it's garbage out. So we have to be careful about the bias in our data. Cost is huge. We need someone to measure our return on investment and who's going to invest. Your companies that haven't invested in a hospital, the hospitals who haven't bought it yet, well, it's costly. Who's going to measure return on investment? How is it going to be affecting the workflow? It needs to be intuitive, not disruptive. What about competing priorities? Who's going to, where's the time and money to focus on AI going to come from? And staff resistance. You've heard about the nurses at Kaiser striking because they were using AI to develop a scheduling template, which would cause in many of them losing some coveted shifts that they would have otherwise gotten. So that's important to think about as well. And definitely fraud. There's deep fake videos, even perhaps of you. This is a New York Times article saying that they're using images and voice of doctors to make up avatars as if the doctor's talking about something. The doctor never said that. And there's circulating videos online about it. So this is happening. And the ways to approach AI is definitely, in a systematic way. And this slide basically, covers that as well. But I just want to share with you at the very end the concerns of real experts in AI. One is that AI is getting so smart that humans can't even develop a test that AI can pass. Humanity's last exam. So there was this guy named, he's an AI safety researcher, Dan Hendricks, and he's the director of the Center for AI Safety. And he said, let me come up with 3,000 multiple choice questions that no human hardly can answer. And he contacted PhD program professors all over the world. And he came up in every field, 3,000 multiple choice questions. And AI was given, that test, and it did remarkably well. Basically, it was able to answer almost all of it. So we are looking at AI becoming super intelligent. Generation Beta are the people who were born January 1, 2025 and are living, their life now. And if you think about it, they'll never know what life is like without AI. The potential is there for them to be the smartest generation ever, as long as they still keep up their critical thinking skills, because that's important, right? The other thing about AI is that it requires a tremendous amount of energy. You might have heard about Nevada. That's where they're growing a lot of and building a lot of data centers. Well, guess what? Data centers use up not only a lot of energy, but a lot of water, because it has to cool down all those hot, systems, the computers that are always working. So the energy cost on our planet is huge when we talk about AI as well. And job loss, this particular resource took 2,800 different job skills, and of them, ChatGPT alone could replace, as of now, 29% of them. So agentic AI, ChatGPT, they're really going to push that hard, and that's going to result in job loss. Privacy, of course, it's a huge issue. And like I mentioned earlier, bad intentions, people who are doing jailbreaking, trying to get answers to questions using artificial intelligence, which really no human should be getting to. So in general, don't ever upload your PHI into your chatbot. Remember that AI chatbots may hallucinate. And some of the data you get is likely biased or inaccurate, so you still have to be careful about that. When you get a result from AI, use your common sense, use your human judgment. Lucky you've been trained without it, so you have it. We have to make sure the next generation is also trained so well that they can maintain their human judgment and common sense as we go forward. And then use AI, remember the disclaimer, remember the IDA statistic, and review and finalize before submitting. Your name is on that note, your name is on that letter, so please be careful. Humans aren't going to be replaced by AI, at least in the short term, but humans will be replaced by humans who use AI, no doubt about it. Lots of hype out there. Please separate it from real possibilities, but don't ignore it. Don't ignore the potential and the disruption, and continue educating yourself and your patients, and be transparent, be honest. Again, 90% of this talk was me, 10% was AI. So thank you very much for your time. I will leave you with this resources. These are some books you can read if you're still liking books. This is your institution's IT department may be the very best resource because they have kind of vetted a lot of products and they're safe for you to use. And then additional resources are from large national organizations. And here are links on where you can learn about AI specifically in health from these resources as well. Finally, very last slide. This is AI generated art. This won a prize. The artist was Jason Allen, and he entered an art contest, and he won first place. And he wanted to copyright it. And well, after 3 times in the lawsuit, 3 legal, lawsuits, he was declined a copyright. So I can use it in my presentation. AI generated art, as of now, cannot be copyrighted. So thank you for your time. Any questions?
Dr. Shah, thank you so much. Does anybody have any other questions or comments before we wrap it up today?
This was an excellent presentation. Thank you. I learned a few things, so I appreciate that, because I think every conference that I have attended so far, it's AI, and it's really about, certainly in the world of GME, helping us to reduce the burden of oversight and creating all these documents that we have to do. So excellent. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And then Dr. Shah, there's a couple comments in the chat, just excellent, thank you, and I appreciate the information and sharing your knowledge.
Yeah, and I've shared my slides with Amanda. If you want a copy of them, because there's some good resources there, please just ask her, no problem.
Yes, and I believe Mario did put a few links in the chat. Just to wrap it up with everybody, we do have a feedback survey. The registration link for the January faculty development session hosted by NMPCTC is also in the chat, as well as the February Plains to Peaks registration link. If you'd like to join our NMPCTC communications list, that link is there as well, and then my email if you'd like to request the presentation, the slides, anything, please feel free to reach out to me. If there are no more questions, comments, anything like that, thank you all for joining us today, and thank you, Dr. Shah, for this wonderful, informative presentation, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Take care.